So, how did you decide to go with the button lock? You said that you love button locks, right? From what
Yeah, button locks are kind of the key of it. I mean, it kind of was like this one, as far as like the Tac 2
Yes, that is the
was,
beloved button
yeah,
lock.
yeah, it's kind of where it started from. I mean, it has the most type of fidget action for it. It's a little sloppy. I mean, this is kind of when I first got into it. This type of button lock was like really good and everything else. After experiencing some other button locks, maybe the
Yeah.
Medford, the
Mhm.
ProTech button locks,
Oh,
you can kind of
ProTech,
tell.
yeah.
Yeah, you can kind of tell a little bit difference as far as the quality of that.
Hmm.
So that's where you can kind of see that this is a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
It's still fun. It's still a good thing to do.
Hmm.
But that's kind of where the button lock became my favorite type of lock for that fidget factor and then how it actually works.
I wanted to ask you something about this,
Yeah.
and I have just been, I loved the way you've been taking care of the group. And like, I know that you keep track of what everyone has.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I'm just thinking this, and I'm like, I think David is keeping track of what I have because he puts me like lower, which I'm glad that you do if you do it, because I hold on to the shit too long. Like I
Hmm.
have dedicated a series on my channel called Too Many Cuts. And
Yeah.
it's like when I have too many knives and I have to send them out. So like the next day I ship like 5 knives.
Yeah, but you come in like whenever you do that, you come off like I'm like getting on to you, I'm like yelling at
No,
you and
no.
everything. It's like no, no. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely is. Yeah, some of it is like if you have a bunch already, then we're like,
Mhm.
well, we'll move you down a little bit, and so you can clear out these, and then we'll get to the other
Yeah.
one
That's
afterwards.
good, dude. So back to the Solaris, man.
Hmm.
Um uh the Kickstarter starts at 80, right?
What do you mean? Oh, $80. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's $80 shipped domestically. I'm getting a
Mhm.
few requests for international. The
Yeah.
thing about that is international, where it's like it's hard to get things shipped out to folks, and then it gets
Mhm.
customs seized. And then also like for pricing wise, I looked up like for priority shipping international, it's like 27 to like 30 something bucks.
Mhm.
So if people are really willing to, then I might add that in as far as the international side.
Yeah.
But it's going to be $80 plus another 20 something to 30
Yeah.
something dollars. So that's where I just don't know if people will be interested in doing that for international. Plus, it's just yeah, it's just I don't know how it's going to do that.
Was $80 a price point you were kind of like searching for? How did you end up on that number?
Yeah, 75 was actually the point when I was looking for. The manufacturing costs went up a little bit, so I did go from 75 to $80 shipped,
Yeah.
which isn't a big jump, but it is
Mhm.
something that I was shooting for 75 and got to 80. So that's not a really big far jump from where I was going to initially. But that I just wanted to keep it somewhat of budget because then when I first started out, I mean the Kershaw Skyline, which was like $40, was like I'll never buy that knife. That's gonna be the only knife I'll ever own. And then it was like $40, and it's like so now.
You've broken that rule now.
Yeah, I've broken the world quite a bit from there, but I mean that was like I didn't want to deviate too far from that, so I still wanted to have it be open to folks that are starting out.
Was it very difficult communicating?
It was, and that's where I mean I started the process back in I think it was June 2019 is when I did the first sketch, and then I think I gave them the green light to go ahead November of 19, and it took a while. So that's one thing about the button lock. It's simplistic in its way it operates, but difficult to machine and get correct. So that's where it was kind of trying to meet in that middle point. So when I actually went to a SHOT Show, it still wasn't finalized. So we actually were still. I was trying to show them. I brought some button locks, and I was like, okay, this is how I want it to operate. This is what it should look like. And
Yeah.
then so when they're taking it back, it was just that point of just trying to get it to a point where I knew what it could do, and for the fidget factor, and for how it operates. And then
Mhm.
so it's just kind of it was their first button lock for
Yeah.
QST.
Have you ever thought about like stopping YouTube? Have you ever had thoughts like that?
Oh yeah, I mean it happens because then it's just a
Yeah.
matter of kind of just looking at things and it's just like, and then sometimes you don't feel like you're getting the growth because then like people
Mhm.
bypass me and like
Yeah.
well past like even if they started like much earlier than me
Yeah.
or much later than me and then they just bypass me. It's just like, well, what am I doing wrong? But then like I try and go back to I think what you do is just like, well, what do I want to learn or what do I want to do? What do I
Mhm.
want to share? And kind of
Yeah.
go back to kind of the roots of things because that's where you just got to enjoy it, and that's where I think I got to
Yes.
get better about just scheduling. So that's
Mhm.
where I put pressure on myself because sometimes I'm recording, editing, and posting like the same day instead of
Yeah.
actually just having
That's
that
tough.
thing. Yeah. there's a lot to learn. I mean, like, I guess down to like the little details. That's one thing that I knew there's going to be a lot going into creating a brand, but it's down to like, if you ever pick up like the box that you get a knife on, and look at like the wording on it, it's like, oh, that should be one point bigger. Like that's what
Yeah.
it's down to, as far as like what you have to look at and go, okay, well, I want to put this here, put that there. I want this font to be just a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a box. Like that's like not even the knife.
It's important
So,
though too, you know,
yeah.
presentation is really important. I mean, it depends, man. Sometimes the knife can kind of like give you enough of that
Mhm.
joy, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, I love Tucson knives, and like their presentation is total garbage.
Oh yeah, it's total horrible. Like
But
it's
then
like
you
the
see
worst
this
presentation.
unique thing, and you know how little you paid for it.
Yeah.
And it's like this design that you're not going to find anywhere else. You're like, whoa.
Yo, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so we can squad up in the comments.